How's everyone doing today? It's your boy JJ Domination, and man, here we are. We're doing this video. It was gonna happen regardless at the end of the year, but here we are. We're doing this video right now. I'm gonna be reflecting my Green Bay Packers season. We just got our asses kicked in the NFC Championship again, 37-20. It really felt like it was 59-3, but anywho, yeah, I'm gonna talk about the season and kind of a little blueprint plan for the offseason, because I think this team truly has a lot of room to grow as a team. They may not repeat 13-3, but they definitely have a lot of room to grow and improve. So first, we're going to talk about the season. If you would have told me last January when we hired Matt LaFleur that we were going to go 13-3 and play in the NFC Championship game, as a Packer fan, I would have called you crazy. I would have said at best we're probably 10-6 and we're getting bounced immediately because we're just an inexperienced team with a rookie coach. But that was the 10-6 and all that. That was me being optimistic, because let's be real. How often do rookie coaches just walk in the building and, clinch a bye week in the playoffs? It just doesn't happen that often. And we were able to do that. I mean, last season we were 6-9-1. We fired Mike McCarthy with 4 weeks to go after losing to the worst team in football, the Arizona Cardinals, on a missed field goal. And we end up firing Mike McCarthy. Joe Philbin is our assistant, our offense coordinator or something, and he's the interim head coach. And I gotta say, man, just this season's been crazy. But of course, we'll talk about everything leading up to it, including like free agency, the draft, preseason hype, all that stuff. So the season ends. We hired Matt LaFleur to be our head coach. He was responsible for statistically a below average Tennessee offense, who really started to figure out how good Derrick Henry actually is. And that's the coach that we get, a coach responsible for one of the worst passing offenses in the league. And this year I think we were like 14th or 15th in passing offense in terms of yards. That's okay. I mean, I'll take it. We were a resilient team all year. But anyway, LaFleur gets the job. He's like a 39-year-old. He looks younger than our quarterback, who is actually younger than Matt LaFleur. And he gets the job. Then free agency comes around, and I'm thinking, man, in my mind, I predicted we're going to sign Zadarius Smith and Tyrann Mathieu. Those were the guys that I was like, we're going to get them. And we didn't get Tyrann Mathieu. I'm a little bummed out about it, but hell, I'll take Adrian Amos. So we got Adrian Amos, Zadarius, and Preston Smith. And it's clear to say Zadarius Smith was easily the best player we got, just based on this year. And then we signed Billy Turner. I'm going to be honest, Billy Turner is a average, he's solid. He's okay. But he's getting paid to be like a borderline premier guard, and he's just an okay average starter. I mean, I don't know. He's okay. That's all I could really say. Luckily, he's on a front-loaded contract, so we can get off of him in year 3. But we're going to go through the roster, all that, talk about positions we can improve on. But, free agency was crazy, and then we get to the draft. We get Rashawn Gary, who he showed flashes and potential of what he could be as a disruptor, not really a sack getter, but a disruptor. The future's still bright for him. I think by year 3, he'll be a pretty good player. But for now, he's just one of those guys who's kind of like our long-term project. You know what I mean? And I'm still holding out for him. I'm hopeful that he can get better. Obviously, I'm optimistic. He is a Green Bay Packer now. But that was kind of my take on Rashawn Gary. I don't know if I talked about it on the YouTube channel or with a bunch of friends, but that was really my take. Was he's more of a project guy who I think will improve later on in his career, not immediately. Then we get Darnell Savage. He's going to be really good. I have a good feeling about Darnell Savage. We drafted Elton Jenkins. That boy is a stud at left guard. Chase Sternberger, later on in the year, showed signs of, him being a solid tight end. I don't know how good he's going to be, but he did catch a touchdown in the NFC Championship game. I'll take it. I know it's a huge moment for him, and hopefully next year under the Matt LaFleur system he'll be good. Showed a little bit of upside as a blocker as well, so that's good to see. You know, overall, pretty solid draft. Got some good depth in there as well, like Ty Summers at linebacker, Kingsley Kiki on the defensive line, Kadar Holman, you know, just a nice solid depth corner from Toledo. Overall, pretty solid draft. I'd probably give us a B plus on how we did in the draft. I'm going to be grading drafts, by the way, after year one. So we're going to look back at those as well, you know, in a future video. I don't know when, but it'll definitely be after the Super Bowl, probably closer to free agency. But anyway, then we enter preseason, and a guy that I was really high on in the preseason ended up making the roster. A lot of people were trying to tell me this guy's not going to make the roster. I was one of very few in my circle who thought this guy was going to make it, and that's Chandon Sullivan. I think he's listed as a corner, right? Yeah, Chandon Sullivan. He's the guy who ended up making the roster from Georgia State. Last year he played with the Philadelphia Eagles, was cut. Here he is now. I like Chandon Sullivan. He's a little bit of a Swiss Army knife. You could use him in a lot of different ways. But, you know, just looking at how he played, I mean, the way that we use him on third downs and these nickel and dime packages, I think he can play. And he's definitely shown that in small doses throughout the year. He's not a guy you want to rely on to be a full-time starter, but he's a solid enough player to where, you know, he can make plays, obviously. But that was a guy who, he had, like, I think 2 picks in the preseason, and yeah, he just looked really good in the limited role that he was given. So I was definitely high on him making the final 53, and sure enough, he was a part of the final wave of guys who made the roster. It was just a good moment for me, because I had a feeling he was going to make the roster. A lot of people were trying to tell me he wasn't going to make it, and I was like, yeah, he's going to make it. He's done more than enough to prove it. So he ends up making the roster. Good for him. Very excited. And then I do my predictions video. I had Green Bay probably at around 10-6, maybe 11-5, give or take. But I had us getting bounced in the divisional round. We made it to the NFC Championship and got absolutely destroyed. But you know what? San Francisco deserves it. I'll talk a little bit more about them in the recap video. This is strictly about my team, my Packers. That's what we're doing. It's just crazy. We went 13-3 with a rookie head coach. We swept the NFC North. We only lost to like 1 or 2 teams above 500. It's just remarkable. The season we had was really good. It's the best year since 2014. I know in 2016 we got destroyed in the NFC Championship again, but that team was beat up and they backdoored their way into the playoff spot, and they needed a lot of things to happen in order to do that. That was the infamous run the table year, or running the table, and we ran the table all the way to the NFC Championship game with LaTroy Guion at defensive tackle, starting at right guard, or not starting, but playing right guard because of all the injuries we had on the offensive line. I mean, just remarkable stuff. But we're going to get into the roster. Very proud of the Packers. Definitely an A+ season. I will be grading them, of course, with the other playoff teams, but definitely an A+ considering where they were last year. So we look at quarterback, obviously, we're cool. Aaron Rodgers is just fine. I know he had 3 turnovers in the championship game. One of them was definitely his fault. That interception to Emmanuel Mosley, unacceptable. The last interception was just an effort throw to Devontae, and then the fumble. I put that more on Corey Linsley than Aaron Rodgers, but he's still responsible for it. Quarterback, we're cool. Running back, we're cool. Tyler Ervin, I don't know if he's going to make the roster next year, but he showed a lot of juice in the return game. Enough juice, I would say, to keep his spot. Jamal Williams, we'll see. I think he's good. We don't use him enough, though, and just a freaking beast right here. Aaron Jones, I had a feeling he would be, and so did my buddy Aaron. Aaron was on it around the same time as I was, maybe even a little bit before that. I had a strong feeling about him, and what do you know? Fullback, I don't care. I mean, hopefully Danny Vitale ends up being good, but I don't really care about fullbacks anymore, to be honest. This is where it gets interesting, the wide receiving core. Look at the drop-off from Davante Adams. You have just a guy, pretty solid Alan Lazard, and just a guy. I mean, in my opinion, you got to revamp this wide receiver room like 110%. Geronimo cannot be on this team next year. Marquez Valdez-Scantling has to be a roster bubble guy next year. We didn't even use Ryan Grant. That was just stupid. Jake Kumaro, like the story, respect. Maybe he makes the roster next year. Alan Lazard definitely, I think, is here to stay. He's a restricted free agent, I'm pretty sure. We'll get him back. And then Equinemius St. Brown, another guy who has a lot to prove. He missed all of year 2. You got to come in here in year 3 and fight for some snaps. But we definitely have to improve this receiving core. There'll be some solid receiving options on the market. Ideally, I'd like to see Randall Cobb come back. Just going to put that out there. I don't know. Maybe we draft a receiver. I don't know. We'll figure that out when all of that happens. But this wide receiver room, God, it needs to be revamped. You cannot come back here with a significant drop-off from Devontae Adams. The tight end room, Jimmy Graham, in my opinion, is good as gone. I don't even want him here anymore. You can save like $10 million by cutting him. Just cut him. I'd rather spend that $10 million on a player who's worth my time. Jimmy Graham just isn't, you know. Just, I don't care. Mercedes Lewis, I'd like to bring him back. Good veteran tight end, good veteran presence, good backup. Chase Sternberger, probably the future at tight end, maybe, depending on if we go after a tight end. Robert Tonyan, probably as good as gone next year. He's going to have a lot to prove. Did not play his best football down the stretch, except for the Washington game. And then, of course, our long snapper, Hunter Bradley. Then we get to the offensive line. Definitely need tackle depth because Alex Light is a joke. David Bakhtiari, by the way, got bullied around in that game against Nick Bosa. Elton Jenkins were solid. Lane Taylor, we could actually cut him and save money. That's probably going to be the move. Corey Linsley. I mean, Lucas Patrick ain't bad. I know the rating's bad. Cole Madison, we don't really know what we have in him just yet. Billy Turner. I'm not a Billy Turner guy, but we'll see. I'd like to keep Jarrett Valdir, but he might retire. And then, of course, Brian Balaga. Got to give him a 1 or 2 year extension. Then we get to the defensive line. We extended Dean Lowry. We're kind of stuck there. Hopefully we can improve on the defensive line. We had the depth pieces like Montravius Adams, Kingsley Kiki. They're good depth pieces. You know, D tackle, Tyler Lancaster, good depth piece. These guys cannot start next year. It's got to be Kenny Clark, Dean Lowry, and a stud. I mean, Michael Brockers and Ndamukong Suh, those guys will probably be free agents. I would not be opposed of either one of them coming here next year. We're good with Rashawn Gary, Zadarius Smith. This is the position that drastically needs to improve. Middle linebacker. Listen, I'm not a huge Blake Martinez guy. I have ripped him all year. Basically, I just don't like him at all. But if he's like your linebacker, your inside linebacker 2, that's okay. Because you could cover up some of the weaknesses with him out there. But he cannot be our number 1 linebacker next year. We don't even know what we have in Oren Burks. He's barely played. I don't even know if he's any good, to tell you the truth. BJ Goodson is basically Blake Martinez. Ty Summers, a special teamer. Maybe he'll grow. And Curtis Bolton, just practice squad at best at this point. But he's a good special teamer. Preston Smith, Kyler Fackrell, good depth pieces. I don't know if Kyler Fackrell comes back or not. I think he's a free agent. He'd be a good depth piece, just not a starter. Then in the secondary, I still would want to improve in the secondary. We have to figure out what we have in Josh Jackson. He's going to be entering year 3. He's been underwhelming his first 2 years. We have to see what we have in him, or else he's as good as gone. At safety, I think we're good. Yeah, I think all the safety spots were good. Raven Green, pretty good in his first game. Outside of that, we haven't seen him play really. He's been hurt. But overall, been very happy about the Packers. We have a lot of room to grow. I'd say our top 3 needs are wide receiver, middle linebacker, and wide receiver, middle linebacker, and defensive line. Definitely want to add some O-line depth as well. But yeah, that's about it, really. This is how I'm feeling about the Packers. Hopefully we can do something. You know, hopefully we can get better. But sky's the limit. That's all I can really say. 13-3 in the first year with a rookie head coach. I think next year we probably take a little dip in record, but hopefully we are a better performing team. I think that's the big thing. Yeah, sure, we might go 10-6 next year or 11-5 with a first place schedule, but can we be a better version on paper and statistically than what we were last year or this past yesterday, I guess. I don't know. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. I will be doing a recap Wednesday. I'm not covering the Pro Bowl. Don't ask. I don't care. I would rather watch the WNBA or, I don't know, water polo or something. Just, no, I don't care about the Pro Bowl. But hopefully you guys enjoy. Peace out.